Whatever you post on social media becomes people's businesses automatically.
Right.
And then you should learn to, filter your responses and your thoughts and just move on, continue moving on.
All right, so let's take charge of the things we put out there on social media, knowing that once anything gets in the social space, it has become everybody's business. At that point, it's too late now. My mom would say it's too late to cry when the head is off. All right, it's too late to now say, well, let him be, let her be. It's their business. No, it's not your business anymore. If you actually had wanted it to be your business, you should have, by all means, kept it to yourself. All right, so that's the way social media works now, and we've got to take responsibility and be proactive about the things we put on those platforms. We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, we'll look at big headlines from across our national dailies for you.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, now time to turn to papers for you. We begin incidentally with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Top left corner of the paper. First off, it says Naira may stabilize around 1,600 and 1,000 650 naira in near term. That's according to experts. Ruwan was one of the persons who said that earlier, one of Nigeria's foremost economists. Okay, but Nigerians are wondering, of what benefit will it be if the local currency stabilizes at between 1,006 and 1,650 naira? Wait to see what the implications will be. In the meantime, you can read up those details on page 26 of today's issue of the Guardian, of the Tribune newspaper, I should say. All right, top right corner of the paper, Abacha didn't annul June 12 election, never stole money. Mariam defends late husband. Says money saved by Abacha vanished months after his death. Interestingly, she said, well, that money had been saved for the country, but in her words, the money vanished immediately after the death of the former military dictator. All right, but turns out those are the two stories we have for you on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune today. Next port of call is the Guardian newspaper.
Well, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have the story that says 24 years later, 43 new operators target telcos, undeserved amid concerns. And then we also have right there, Otedola to consolidate stake in First Bank as Otudeco Udukale consider exit. Wike rallies PDP stakeholders in Abuja high stakes meeting. What other story do we have here on the Guardian newspaper? Subsidy. Obi demands transparency on savings. Presidency calls him desperate. You find that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Obi, Oti, Nenadi relaunch obedient movement in Abuja today. And also 100,000 rickety containers dumped in Nigeria ports. Group laments. Lastly, Mariam Abacha fought IBB's claim on June 12 election annulment. These are the stories we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, so we turn now to a different paper altogether, this time the New Telegraph newspaper for you. The very top, it says Nigeria ranks 5th among African countries most indebted to China. The writer tells us owes 15 trillion naira. Of course, you can't think about this magnitude of indebtedness to the Chinese government and not remember the some of the very humongous borrowing that we did with the railway under former President Muhammadu Buhari, when you had former Governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Chibike Amechi, as the Minister of Transportation in this country. But as experts will say, economic experts, it's not so much about borrowing as it is what you're borrowing for and how that adds value to the lives of citizens. We have one with a kicker here that says inflation. Analysts predicts significant drop to 23% for May. Then here with a picture of Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti. Oti, I'm using Orji Kalu's infrastructure templates to build Aba. Mokoa flood. Niger governor donates 1 billion naira, awards 7 billion naira road projects. Tasks residents to stay off waterways. When we ask people to stay off waterways, move away to move upland and all of that. So what modalities are we putting in place? If these people have, for the most part, if they had the means of doing that, if they had the resources, if they had the infrastructure, they wouldn't be where they were in the first instance. So government needs to have the right conversation that can resonate with the people, all right? What I would have done differently in removing fuel subsidy? Peter Obi is speaking on page 2 of the New Telegraph today, and Donald Trump has his picture here. Trump's new travel ban takes effect, blocking citizens from 12 countries. We understand Los Angeles has been a hotspot of some kind the last few days, this weekend in particular, because of the protests that have erupted there. President Trump has ordered troops to be deployed. Governor Newsom of California has said, he has written to the federal government to say, look, you have to hold off on deployment of troops, all right? But the protests, we understand, is quite spiraling out of a peaceful demonstration. It's become more riotous as it stands right now. But the writer says, defense decision to send National Guard to Los Angeles. That brings us to the Star headline this morning that has the kicker: 2027. 22 PDP governors endorsed Jonathan, yet he lost woefully in 2015. That is credited to former whip of the Senate, Ali Undume. The writer says politicians, the campaign voters, and Buratai town attacked North ex-army chief. Wike hosts PDP stakeholders, says G5 governors saved Nigeria. Money my husband kept for Nigeria vanished after his death. That is credited to the wife of late dictator Sani Abacha. Accelerated aging found in children with multiple sclerosis. That's according to study. You can read up the findings on page 27 of the New Telegraph. But then on the right corner of the front page of the New Telegraph this morning, we have two headlines. Senate moves to stop outsourcing of jobs to expatriates. The writer says to us, as NCDMB pleads legislative intervention. Fleeing IDP delivers quadruplets in Bedway as mentally challenged woman birth twins in Market Square. You find that interesting read on page 26. Nigeria is quite an interesting place, and every other day there's a story that challenges you mentally and stretches your mind one way or another.
Yes, because sometimes you begin to wonder. I'd like to guess that this displaced person was pregnant before getting into camp.
That's the assumption.
I want to assume. I want to think in that direction, and the mentally deranged person who gave birth in the market. Such grace, because where we hear of women who are pregnant and how much care they need, how much attention they need, how much they need to go to hospitals for checkups, their regular antenatal and maternity care, the injections that they take, the supplements that they take and all of that, and how important it is for them to deliver, in the right clinic, basically the right kind of medical attention. And even with all of these things put in place, we discover that some of these people still have issues when giving birth. Some of these women still have issues. But more often than not, we see pregnant women who are mentally unstable deliver effortlessly in markets, by themselves, on the roads and all of that. I want to ask, how possible, why is this so? Is there an unusual strength for these people as a result of their condition, or their immunity and what have you, to find out that a pregnant woman delivers in the market, and twins for that matter. Right. What interests you to know that in a couple of days,
in 2025,
she'll be roaming the streets again,
like nothing
happened. And I'm wondering how possible, and I'm just left to say that God is indeed very wonderful.
Right.
Well,
it turns out that's all we have for you from the New Telegraph this morning. Let's turn to this time we're turning to the Nation newspaper, where Queen Agaba has those headlines.
Well, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, we actually do not have many stories at all. We have here, OPE extends 1.2 billion Naira 10-year scholarship initiative to Benue State University. That's interesting to know. And then we have President Tinubu commissions International Conference Center in Abuja today. So the conference center has been under construction since last year. Events, usually the conference center is known to always have regular events where people anchor regular events, a lot of events, but over 1 year now it has been under construction and renovation. And it's interesting to know that renovation has been completed, and there'll be a commissioning by the president today.
Right.
Well, these are the stories we have on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
All right, let's turn to the Punch Sports Extra now. Of course, after that, we have our last paper for you this morning. The big one here has the picture of Victor Osimhen. Well, some people say the hottest, maybe arguably striker in the world of soccer right now. It says crossroads with an exclamation mark. All right, Osimhen's future uncertain again after collapsed Saudi transfer. That's a Punch Sports Extra for you. And then when you look at the top right, it says Everton enter race for Uche. Forest confirm I know Awoniyi stay. Boniface didn't mean Eagles retirement. Rennes eye on Wachu as key summer signing. Morata ponders Spain retirement. And then there's the story around Modric here as well. It says Modric confirms Milan talks. United plots Ter Stegen move. And then you come down, we're talking money now. Arsenal plan fresh 100 million euro Sesco bid. You can see money flying everywhere, whether it's Osimhen you're talking about today or as it stands right now, talking about Sesco. I mean, so much of money flying around for the leagues and all of the quote-unquote purchases being negotiated. Hoopers crash outs of BAL finals. Matchroom fears Joshua Wilder speculation. All right, I'm sure the lovers of boxing would love to see what happens with Joshua and Wilder. If that fight is ever going to happen, how soon it will be, and then let's see how much of money we are going to have to follow all the way to the top again this time. Let's turn to our last paper, the Punch newspaper this morning.
The Punch, but this time not sports. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have big story, defections. Hurricane, Tinubu sweeps 12 more senators and reps. Rider says APC courts 4 PDP governors to Akwa Ibom, National Assembly members to join ENO, 2 Edo, and then Nasarawa senators to quit SDP and Labour Party. Just beside the nameplate, we have Obi sparks firestorm over Tinubu subsidy figures. You find that story on page 28, I beg your pardon, of the Punch newspaper. Tears and joy as Nigerian pilgrims depart Saudi after Hajj. Must have been a beautiful experience, and then a bitter one as well, following the recent incidences. You find that story on page 28 of the Nation newspaper. Well, these are all of the stories we have of the Punch
newspaper.
Of the Punch newspaper. These are the stories we have of the Punch.
Well, defection appears to be something that will likely be here a little longer than one can readily imagine right now. There are people who have said that, look, these defections are just superficial. They don't have roots. They don't have substance. But the president thinks otherwise, because the other day during the APC National Summit, he did say that, look, I know the way, I know road, in his exact words. And as such, it's no surprise that people are trailing behind me and the APC is getting it right and things like that. But there are those who also believe that beyond all of these hula balu, as they always say, that we're saying all of the drama and, well, melodrama, ultimately it is 2027 that will be the big decider. And we're counting down to that time.
Yeah, while we're counting down to that, there have also been conversations and people have sparked reactions around, are we not moving towards a one-party system with all of the defections that we see? But we look forward to seeing how these, pans out.
Yeah, sure. And see if we're going to have a party. All right. Let's take a quick break at this point, everyone. A while ago, Queen Agaba and I were talking about how people carry themselves on social media, the kind of things they say, and what implications they hold. But now let's join Ogochukwu Mobono to see what some of the latest stories are across social media platforms.
Cultural heritage is the thread that weaves together our past, present, and future. It encompasses the traditions, the customs, and values that define us as individuals and communities. By preserving our cultural heritage, we honor our ancestors and inspire future generations. Good morning and welcome to Social Buzz on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobna, and also good morning to the Global Morning crew. Today we'll be talking about the festival, Ojude Oba Festival. I know you've been seeing the highlights everywhere on social media, so I'll be giving you a brief story about the Ojude Oba Festival. So the Ojude Oba Festival is a vibrant celebration held annually in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, Nigeria. It is a grand homage paid to the Awujale of Ijebu land, the traditional ruler of Ijebu-Ode, and showcases the rich cultural heritage of the state. Millions of people participated in this year 2025 edition of the globally renowned Ojude Oba Festival. The festival was held on Sunday in Ijebu-Ode in honor of the Awujale of Ijebu land. The event, which is more than 200 years old, is a vital cultural heritage for the Ijebu people and a beacon of Nigerians' rich tradition. The festival, which draws Ijebu sons and daughters from across the world, along with tourists and dignitaries eager to witness the vibrant celebration of culture, fashion, and tradition at the Uturu Center in Ijebu-Ode. The estimated millions of participants include approximately 200,000 people who converge at the main pavilion and surrounding Uturu Center. Additionally, between 2 and 3 million attendees were on ground across Ijebu towns and other parts of Ogun State. Besides the physical turnout, millions more were watching online through various live streaming platforms globally. The Nigerian Police, NSCDC, DSS, the military, Omatekun Corps, and the vigilante group of the Nigeria, among others, were fully deployed to prevent any breach of security. The Ojude Oba Festival is not only a unifying force for the Ijebu people, but also boosts local economies and promotes Nigerian culture on the global stage, from fashion to art exhibition and its likes. Honestly, at this point, I am wishing I was Yoruba and from the Ijebu town, because it is all colorful. Anyway, let's take a look at this short clip from the festival. Wow, what a display that was. The colors, it was all colorful. There were foods, the exhibition, arts, and all of that. See, what thrills me most is that people come from different parts of the world. They didn't just come from Ogun State. You see people, different Ijebu people, indigenous from different parts of the world, make sure they are in town for this big festival. You don't want to miss out. If anyone is from Ijebu town and you are not there at the old place, you're not even going to enjoy the whole thing. You definitely miss out on it and you feel like you are not even part of it. But you can actually watch online. A lot of viewers were watching online, following the live streams to make sure that they were part of this festival. I wish I was a Yoruba or I was there to witness this whole event live at this point, because I love to party. Anyway, we have comments on social media and we'll be going right straight to that comment. So the first comment is from Bonnie, and Bonnie says, even Igbo they learn, not only white and red clothes then they wear, and Hausa people no fit relate even with their concussion dress. No, now you don't have to say this. To be very honest, I think every tradition has its own festival and every festival is very unique. If you see the Igbo festival, you also get trade and they love it that way. So we don't really have to compare. We just need to embrace our own and make sure it is unique and draw external people to our own culture, to our own land, to Nigeria. It is one Nigeria, so there's no point trying to do all of that. So the next comment is from Fizzy. Fizzy says, can't be compared with Doba, who is with me. It can't be compared because I think it is horse riding, and if you actually read very well about the Ojude Oba festival, the horses are mainly gotten from the north. So the horses are from the north and these horses are for Northerners, which is used for this Doba festival. So definitely, we are all interwoven. That's what I was saying. We are all interwoven. In one way or the other, we kind of, you can see the Yoruba culture in the Hausa culture and see the Hausa culture in the Yoruba culture too. So you don't have to compare any of this culture. Okay, so that's that for you, Fizzy. Please go do your check-ins very well and know that those horses were gotten from the north. So the last but not the least comment is from she's an Akwa Ibom girl and she says too much teas, simple, like too much teas. Everyone was composed, we're all looking great. They really showcase that Iran Buba, they showcase the woven fabric, the Ashoke fabric came to play, the colors, everything were beautiful. We could see international organizations even there, trying to all cover the event and all of that, and it was really, really beautiful. It was a beautiful one. It was a beautiful sight, and I never wished it never ended, but definitely everything that has a beginning has an end. And yes, this has brought us to the end of today's episode of Social Buzz and Global Morning. I am August Mwomno, and do stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
All right, everyone, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. We turn our attention first to a conflict for a while now, and surrounding that conflict. It's been about Democratic Republic of Congo, that is RC, that has had its own kind of internal conflict. Some people say, well, it's a miniature civil war of some kind, which, of course, experts home and abroad now say is directly or indirectly connected to the mineral deposits, in which, of course, that country, as we know, is very rich, all right, which even the West is very much interested in. But the question in between, however, is how is it that Rwanda, a country in eastern part of Africa, is now embroiled in all of this? And what are the implications for, well, continental collaboration, or if you like, that sort of interaction of some kind, business, trade, diplomacy, politics, and what have you, amongst African countries? As it stands today, we understand that Rwanda, under President Paul Kagame, has pulled out of the regional bloc, and this is some sort of developing story. But again, the implications are quite significant. Therefore, want to beat some of these issues into context this morning, and we're joined by someone who has a handle on these developments to help us create some context real quick. Dr. Sule Babayo is Department of Political and Administrative Studies, National University of Lesotho. He joins us this morning live via Zoom. Dr. Babayo, I would like to say a big thank you to you for jumping on this conversation today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to say a very good morning to all.
So my colleague, Queen Adaba, and I will spend the next 20-25 minutes chit-chatting with you about this issue. Now, there are people who say that, first of all, well, Rwanda is in East Africa, unlike the DRC. How is it that we are having a conversation regarding a conflict on the ground in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then it's as if we can't have a totality of that conversation without featuring, so to speak, Rwanda under Paul Kagame? Help our viewers understand what exactly is going on.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it is critical when you talk of the crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo to reflect to some historical antecedent that led to the current situation of the conflict. one is we shouldn't forget that the state of Congo is one of the most volatile and one of the most brutalized and tortured by the colonialists historically. In essence, it is arguably agreed that there is no African country that was colonized brutally, that suffered massacre, that suffered all forms of inhuman treatment in the hands of the white European colonialists like the Congo under what they call the Calefold of Belgium. It was reported by some empirical facts that more than 2 million Congolese were massacred and assassinated in the most brutal way during colonialism by such people. And after that, another issue is that Congo is also believed to be the most endowed state in Africa in terms of mineral resources, because the cobalt, the zinc, the lithium, and other valuable and precious mineral resources and stones that are used in order to manufacture something like the car battery, electric car, mobile phones, iPhones, computers, and basically all valuable electronics. Congo has the highest deposit in Africa and also probably one of the most endowed and blessed in terms of this deposit across the world. And when the Congolese decided that they no longer want the colonialists to stay, they did something very terrible, which many historians in Africa always used to replay with a sober mood. What have they done? They almost destroyed all the infrastructure that they mounted during colonialism, saying that since you are not matured enough to rule yourself and you are telling us to go, you are chasing us away, that means you don't need our infrastructure. This was despite all the huge resources extracted free of charge by the Belgian colonialists, despite the massacre of over 2 million Congolese. They still went ahead to destroy the infrastructure and said, okay, you are free, you can go. After that, what happened next was that one of the most patriotic African leaders, known as Patrice Lumumba, emerged from that same Congo, who said that, look, Africa is for Africans and the resources of Congo is for Congo people. So we don't want you. Please, you may wish to leave. Because of that, they connived with some unpatriotic Congolese and massacred him. They assassinated him in a most way that when you see it, you will weep. Because they embarrassed him, they disgraced him, they displayed him before the public, torturing him, insulting him, abusing him, beating him, and all sort of inhuman treatment that you can't even do to an animal, done to a president of a country and a rich country for that matter. Then later on, they hacked him into pieces and then burned his remains, just as a deterrence, as an example against other African leaders that want to rebel. Now, having said that, we have seen the background of the Congo as a state that right from day one, it was not an easy ride for a Congo to be a state. Now, what happened next? What happened next was, as rightly mentioned, the Congolese crisis has 4 dimensions. It has local dimension, something like a miniature civil war, as you said. It also has a regional dimension. It has an international dimension affecting 2 countries, Rwanda and Congo. Then it has a multi-regional dimension affecting some countries from Central Africa, from East Africa, and from South Africa. Then it has an overall global dimension affecting many countries, including the Western interests. Now, how did that come into being? This came into being by the civil war in Rwanda, that famous civil war or genocide between the Tutsis and the Hutus. We all know that what happened in Rwanda was that the Hutus are the majority, the Tutsis were the majority. So the Hutus utilized the opportunity of power and almost embarked on a genocide motive against the Tutsis. Unfortunately, they succeeded almost in doing that, but some part of the eastern Rwanda, where the majority of the Tutsis resided, there were some Hutus entrapped there. So these Hutus decided to cross over to Democratic Republic of Congo in order to escape reprisal attack from the Tutsis that were being massacred mercilessly by the Hutus inside Rwanda. Now, these Hutus that now cross over to some part of Congo settled down there. Now, when the rebel movement of President Paul Kagame succeeded in forming a government in Rwanda, the first thing he did was to support the former president of Democratic Republic of Congo, that's Laurent Kabila, to emerge as the president of Congo on the ground that there is going to be a unity among them in such a way that Laurent Kabila gave an opportunity for Paul Kagame, that is Rwanda, to chase these Hutus that are residing in the eastern part of Congo, because according to Paul Kagame and Rwanda, if these Hutus are still residing in the eastern part of Congo, Rwanda will not be peaceful because they may organize a movement, a rebel, and then come back and hunt back Rwanda, and it is long-lasting peace that it is building under Paul Kagame. So with the cooperation of Laurent Kabila and the cooperation of DRC Congo, even when it was Zaire, before it was renamed DRC Congo, they succeeded in chasing these Hutus to the extent that, as you mentioned, a miniature civil war continued in disguise in Rwanda, but across the border of Congo. In other words, the conflict between Hutu and Tutsi spill over up to the borders of Congo in the eastern part, where they call it the eastern and southern Kivu, and the Goma, the recent town where such conflict broke out recently, as we are discussing. But later, it turned out otherwise. There was a fallout between Paul Kagame and Laurent Kabila, and the Laurent Kabila withdrew his support to the Paul Kagame against the Hutus, and instead he turned to the government, and then turned back to the Hutus and supported them. So now when such crisis broke out,